Everyone, welcome back to your LVRC classes. Today we are going to do chapter number 5, Audit of Items of Financial Statements, and I welcome you all to the class. So I hope you are sitting upright in alert position, not lying down. Have your books, pen, notebooks, everything in your hand, and we shall be ready for this lecture. First of all, quickly tell me how many of you have properly gone through the module, have attended the LVC, and you have gone through this chapter once at least. एक बार at least you have gone through this chapter. Let me know. महक बताइए, गर्व, सुमेध, just let me know. Okay, Mehak is saying she has at least gone through this chapter once. It's very, very important because right now I will be discussing more about the examples of how this chapter needs to be approached. We will do a lot of practice, and this chapter actually is built on practice. This is a chapter that uses the application of your mind, your concepts, your clarity of auditing, and very, very, very important chapter because anyone who is good at this chapter, which means you are in the right direction of becoming a very good auditor. So let's get started. Now, before I show you question number 1, let's first discuss the base, without which nothing in this chapter can be understood unless you understand assertions. Unless you understand assertions. Okay? So, before we start, the whole chapter. So even in this, today we'll be discussing 15-20 questions, and your chapter will also have multiple different. So there can be more than 300, 400, 500 points to memorize. Do you think the intention is to make you memorize 300, 400 points, or for you to have clarity on one concept? What do you think? Do you think the idea is that we should memorize 300, 400 points, or the idea is to understand that all the chapter is interconnected through a singular concept? And that concept, if you understand, you can apply that concept. Of course, thoda language idhar udhar, that's okay. But as long as you're getting the keywords right, you're getting the concepts right, you will be able to approach the answer and understand the requirements of the question as and when you start doing more and more practice. So this is a chapter jo read nahi karna hai. Ye chapter you don't have to read. You have to sit with questions, think, write, and then see the answer. You have to do this chapter like you practice a costing question or a finance management question or an accounting question or a DT question. Read nahi karna hai. You have to see the question. You have to think the question. You have to remember and write down the question and write down the answer, and then you have to see the notebook or the answer paper, and then you have to tally it. If you are reading it like a novel, you are preparing yourself for a very, very big problem that you will face in exam. No reading of this chapter, novel, newspaper ki tarha read nahi karna hai. Okay, so assertions. Let's start that how is this chapter tied together. So first remember that you don't have to memorize 20, 30, 40 questions with each question having 10 points. That is not the intention. The intention is to remember and understand the concept of assertion. Abhi, you forget the book. Abhi, you forget everything. Just pay attention here. Let's say I tell you कि Garv is receiving rent of rupees 50,000 per month, okay? And it shows in his books. Okay? Garv is receiving rent of rupees 50,000 per month and it shows in his P&L. Mehak is the auditor. महक आप ऑडिटर हो, ठीक है? Abhi, you tell me, you want to confirm that this 50,000, you want to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. You forget all the technical terminologies. Think like an auditor and just reply without remembering any keywords. Okay. What all do you think you will check to feel and get the satisfaction that you have sufficient evidence to tell that this 50,000 per month is real? This is actually happening. So what Mehak will do, she will tell Garv, Garv, you have received 50,000. So you must have some rent agreement. Please give me rent agreement. Okay. Very good, Om. In that rent agreement, you can verify what all can you verify? You can verify the address is correct. And in that, whatever address, the title deed should be in whose name? If Garv is receiving rent, title deed, the document should be in whose name? Garv's name. Okay. So address, title deed. Then amount should be written in rent agreement. Yes or no? And it should clarify that who will pay the maintenance, what will be the rent amount, period. Everything will be there. Okay. So Mehak has asked for rent agreement. What else will you check, Mehak? Ekdam generally socho. You want to confirm that this is real, Mehak. और क्या क्या मांगोगे आप? What all will you ask? So rent agreement you have asked. Very good, Mehak. So what if you see in the rent agreement that this rent agreement is from 2019, 2020 and you are checking 2024 and 25. Will this be correct thing? Do you think this rent agreement is of use to you? No. So the rent received also should be for correct period. The documents they are showing you also should be of the correct period. So you know what it is called? Correct accounting period. Okay. Now tell me, Mehak. So rent agreement is showing, okay, rent agreement is correct. It is of correct 2024-25. Now, amount is given also as 50,000 rupees. Now, what other thing you can check to get more evidence or satisfaction chahiye, or you want to get confirmation? Very good, Garv. You can check bank statement. Bank statement mein what can we check? Bank statement mein what can we check? We can check whether regular deposit of money is received. Yes or no? Regular rent is being received, regular deposit is being received. Okay. Now, tell me this rent should come in manufacturing account or P&L account? If rent is being received, if Garv is running a business and the business is receiving rent, it should come in P&L, right? So correct presentation should be there under correct head. Then usually if you are receiving rent, you might have gotten what? TDS might have been deducted, yes or no? TDS could have been deducted. So that also, the accuracy of showing the correct amount should be there. Yes or no? Do you remember in last one lecture, I showed you that someone noted the income minus TDS. Was that the right way? No, that was not the right way. Okay. So all this point, which means correct value is being shown. Okay. Then what else? TDS presentation is done. And is it an income or an expense? Is it an income or an expense? Income. which means there can be कभी भी income हो, okay? Wherever there is an income, there can be outstanding or advance. Yes or no? Even in expense, there can be something outstanding and there can be something which means arrears can be there or advance can be there. So every income and expense can have some effect on the balance sheet also. Yes or no? It can happen in sales also, that you have received some advance amount, some is still pending, credit sales is there. So it can result into debtors, right or wrong? So whenever you approach any question, you can have two options in your hand. You can either decide that I will memorize this whole point. Oh, I will sit and memorize title deed, 50,000, cut off, bank statement I have to check, presentation I have to check. Either you can decide this, or you can decide that I will use common sense, I will use understanding of the subject, and I will do practice to improve my thinking skills, and then I will use it in the exam. So, one of the most important things about this chapter is changing your attitude towards it. The one of the most important things about this chapter is changing the way you see it, the way you approach it, the way you study it. If you change your attitude towards this chapter, the fear that you feel, okay, the fear that you feel will automatically go away. So whenever you see anything in the question, first see. So now I'll show you how to approach a question, okay? So suppose a question is there. First see, is it an asset? Is it a liability? Is it an income? Is it an expense? सबसे पहले classify it in your head, okay? Is it an asset? Is it a liability? Is it an income? Is it an expense? Then that way you will know, is it a balance sheet item or is it a P&L item? Second, you have to remember these 6 points. What are these 6 points? Which means you have to see, as an auditor, to audit anything in the world. I'm telling you, anything in the world. You need to check 6 main things. Okay? Existence. Okay? Existence, which means, does it actually exist? You can call it occurrence also. So usually when you're writing answer for this, so when you're making a point, you can use words like physically verify or confirm or avoid the word check. I checked the voucher. No, I physically verified the voucher. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Don't write I check the rent agreement. No, I physically verified the rent agreement. Or you can write inspected also. I inspected the stock, not I checked the stock. Language, okay? Why is language important? Why is language so important? Every profession has a language. You go to a doctor. I will go to a doctor and I'll say, sir, my stomach on the right side is paining, sir. But when a doctor writes a report or when a doctor talks to another doctor, they'll say the patient is complaining of an acute throbbing discomfort, pain on the lower abdomen. Same ही चीज है ना, बट एक तरीका होता है हर प्रोफेशन का. So every profession has a style, has a way, has a vocabulary. In law also, ऊपर ऊपर से ठीक दिख रहा है, everything seems to be okay on the surface, but we use say prima facie things appear to be in alignment. क्यों ऐसे बोलेंगे, सीधा सीधा क्यों नहीं बोल सकते? Because every profession has professional words and vocabulary. So please keep in mind that when you are writing an auditor paper, you have to use the language of an auditor. If you will write like any other person, then why should you be an auditor? And writing correctly and speaking the language of auditor is part of being an auditor. Okay. So the first thing, any question, decide. Is it asset? Is it liability? Is it income? Is it expense? Then, does it exist? Exist means we have to check existence or occurrence. Physically verify, confirm, inspect. These words you can use when you're writing the points. Then, completeness. Completeness means कुछ छूट तो नहीं गया है ना, सब कुछ आ गया है ना, which means have I forgotten some voucher? Have they covered all 12 months of rent, or have they noted down only 10 months of rent? That I need to check. So when I told you that CA Mehak needs to check rent of 50,000 rupees, did you tell ma'am we need to check whether all 12 months have been noted in the P&L? We forgot, right? That means this will ensure that you don't forget anything, that you don't forget checking anything. So completeness means what are we actually checking? That nothing is left out. In this, you can use language like all rents received, or all goods dispatched, or all additions to plant and machinery recorded. So these kind of language you have to use. So no omission. These kind of things can be taken. Okay. Garv is writing, ma'am, whether security deposit was taken. Yeah, of course, this can be a point. Of course. Next. So completeness you have to check. Then you have to check rights and obligations. Rights and obligations means, does the entity legally owns it or owes it? Do we own it or do we owe it? Owe it matlab, do we have to pay someone or does someone have to pay to us? Do we own it or do we owe it? That is usually, you will see some words like title deeds, ownership, mortgaged. Okay. Then next you have to see is valuation, measurement. Measurement is usually, in case of P&L items, measurement accuracy, and valuation is usually for balance sheet items. So in valuation, what do you see? Or measurement, what do you see? Correct amount recorded. In this, you can use language like appropriately valued, or has it become obsolete? Okay. So these are the kind of things you need to focus on. Then cutoff means, is it right accounting period? Is it in the correct accounting period? So you can look for words like near year end. Like these words will be used, or in the last few days. These kind of words you pay attention to if there it is there in the question, or you can use during writing the points. Then presentation and disclosure. Shown correctly. If it is required to be shown under P&L, then under P&L. If it is required to be shown under manufacturing, under manufacturing. If it under assets, if under liabilities. Even if it's an asset, then under correct head of whether it needs to be shown under closing stock, whether it needs to be shown under loans and advances. So that means that you are showing it correctly. Here you may have to give reference to Companies Act Schedule 3, Schedule 3, or AS references you might have to give. So here you have to be a little alert that you might have to remember other chapters and other case studies. That brings me to the very important next point, that approach to questions. So first, decide whether it's asset, liability, income, or expense. And then you have to decide whether it is existence, completeness, rights and obligation, valuation, cutoff, and presentation. Okay, so all this we have to see. Next, also, sometimes you might have directly Companies Act questions. It means in this, you don't have to actually apply something unique from audit. If you remember section 52 of Companies Act, you can write the whole answer. If you don't remember the act, if you don't remember the section, then you will not be able to solve the answer. So you should be able to have memory and good understanding of your law. Sometimes it can be directly related to your AS knowledge also. And sometimes it can be a mix of all three. All three means auditing also, Companies Act also, AS also. So all these three knowledges come together, and that is why it becomes important to practice. You will be able to practice. It's like gym. Okay? क्या आप एक दिन जाओगे और in one day you do exercise for 6 hours, तो muscle build हो जाएगा क्या? Can you build muscle if one day you go for 6 hours? No. You have to do it every day and then muscle is built. Now, have you heard about muscle memory? Have you heard about muscle memory? Muscle memory means something that comes out automatically without thinking too much. So people who are musicians, who are artists, use a lot of muscle memory. For me also, because I'm teaching auditing since so long, it has become my muscle memory to be able to uh, recall everything, say everything. So I'm applying the concept of muscle memory that we use for gym and driving and things like that for learning. So if you think that one day I'll sit with this chapter and study for 7 hours and I'll be able to write an exam or revise, that will not happen. So to be able to build a muscle like in gym, you have to go every day for 45 minutes, 1 hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour, 1.5 hours. That is when you build it. Same concept is applied here. If you want to grow a plant, एक ही दिन में पूरा बकेट पानी डाल दोगे तो चलेगा? Plant grow हो जाएगा कि मर जाएगा? Will plant grow or will plant die? No. You have to water it every day for you to see the fruits in a plant. That is how any auditing or theory subject works. You have to do it every day. It is going to be repetition and boring, and that is when the healing or the progress happens. Okay. So this is my introduction to the chapter. Thoda approach clear hai, everyone? Before I start the questions, is the approach clear? Because we will be focusing a lot on our approach in the chapter. Jaspreet is asking what is obsolete. Obsolete means goods that have become outdated. That is the meaning of obsolete. Things that have become outdated. Is that clear, Jaspreet? Okay, ji. So let's start with questions. Always remember, no matter how many questions I do with you, that will help you, but you also have to do for yourself. Rose, I will give you a very blunt suggestion. Don't do chapter number 5 in one sitting. Every day, do it for half an hour. Do you understand? Every day, do it for half an hour, 1 hour, like gym exercise. Don't give one day to, okay, एक दिन मैं chapter 5 पूरा पढ़ूंगी. No. Every day, 1 hour, 5, 5, 6 questions you will write down and practice. Don't think of it like a chapter with which you have to sit down in a single, go. Let's start the chapter now. Let's start the revision. Question number 1. CAT is the statutory auditor of QRS. In this, forget that you are a CA student. You are a CA. इस chapter में आप CA हो, आप audit कर रहे हो. You are not Mehak, not Garv, not Pooja. You are CA Mehak, CA Garv, CA Pooja. Think that you are already a chartered accountant and then approach this chapter. While performing testing of additions during the year, okay, some additions have happened. Automatically क्या trigger होना चाहिए? Additions हुए हैं. He wanted to verify that all PPE, property, plant and equipment are in the name of the entity. Name of the entity. क्या check हो रहा है? कौन सा assertion check हो रहा है? जल्दी जल्दी बताओ. All things are in the name of the entity. Quickly बताओ. Name of the entity. Very good. Rights. Rights and obligations आते ही क्या क्या word use कर सकते हो? What word can you use? Rights and obligations, which means क्या check करना आएगा? आंसर में क्या वर्ड्स यूज करोगे? टाइटल डीड. समझ में आया? जो पढ़ाया वो कैसे यूज करना है? हाउ टू यूज व्हाट आई हैव टॉट यू. सो he wanted to verify PPE are in the name of the entity, which means what I have to use? I have to check rights and obligations. I have to check title deed. Next, for all additions to land and building, the auditor desires to have concreteness about ownership. Again, what all can be used in this? What all can be used? All the bills, all the stamp duty paid, all the legal fees paid, all the title deed, conveyance deed also it's called sales deed also, all that you can check. There's something called as encumbrance certificate. So many things, there's no end to the answer, but we have to remember that we are writing for exam. CAT also wants to know whether the entity has valid legal ownership rights over PPT, where it is kept as security for any borrowings. What does it mean? You have given that property for security as pledge or mortgage. Okay. So if mortgage has happened, you have to see whether a charge has been created. Very good, Gayatri. So advise the auditor. See, you are advising an auditor. So of course you are an auditor. So think like an auditor. Advise CAT on the. Are we verifying all the assertions? हमको सारे assertions के बारे में लिखना है. Do we have to write about all the assertions? No. We have to see that self right and obligation. If I just want to verify right, let's say this one time we'll do it, okay? See the way you are thinking, whether it's going correctly or not. To establish rights and obligation, what you can do? While performing testing of additions, he should verify that all PPE, because it's not just property, it can be plant and equipment also. So it means plant and machinery ke to bills honge na, GST bills honge, okay? So does it mean that we have to write only title deed? This is one mistake that happens. Usually people get stuck, students get stuck in right land and building. But all PPE, which means plant, equipment is also there. So there will be bills also. So whether all PP purchase invoices are in the name of entity का नाम है. Next, for all additions to land and building, you have to check sales deed. Tell that check sales deed, or will I tell the lenders with respect to that they are holding the security. So anyway, in real life, usually there is a document called as MOD, Memorandum of Deposits, which is one copy is given to the borrower also, which proves, and there is a mortgage agreement, everything. So that can be used to prove that, okay, this property has been given for charge. In addition, the auditor should verify the register of charges available with entity to assess that any charge has been created against the PPT. ये तो तब plus और entity को क्या maintain करना है? They have to maintain register of charges. If it's a company, then registrar of companies also maintains charges. Do you know that? If it's a company, then the registrar of companies, MCA website you all know, na? MCA website पता है सबको. So on that, whenever a company takes any loans and gives its PPE as a security, the charge by which bank is shown in the MCA website. It is shown in the MCA website. So in this answer, did we have to write anything about completeness, presentation? Nothing we had to verify. We had to verify ownership कैसे check करेंगे? Ownership कैसे check करेंगे? Let's imagine I am buying a house. मैं क्या check करूंगी? Imagine as a buyer. What will I check? Whether all invoices are there, original document is there, original title deed is there. If original is not there, it is with the bank, then get a confirmation from a bank, and whether it is registered, the charge is properly registered. Okay, that's it. थोड़ा approach clear हुआ students? Little bit it's clear. Okay. As usual, with practice, you will become better and better with the answers. Next question. Yes, Garv, there are online land registries also. So in Tamil Nadu, I know that online itself, if we give the survey number and details of the land where the property is, so we put the survey number, we can get the EC. EC is called as encumbrance certificate, in which we can know that if any bank has encumbrance on it. So we will get the name of the bank, the amount with the bank, we'll get all the details. So all that is there here. Each state can have a different way. So I don't know about other states, but in Tamil Nadu here, we have the online EC concept, land registry. Okay. Next. WEF Limited, let's see, has issued shares for cash at a premium. In accordance with Section 52 of the Companies Act, the company is required to transfer the premium received from issuance of shares to security premium account. What are the specific applications allowed for funds in share premium account as per the provisions? Now tell me, ये कहीं पढ़ा है ऑडिट में? ऑडिट में पढ़ा है आपने सेक्शन 52? This application of security premium account. But अगर आप auditor हो, if you are an auditor in real life, will it be like, okay, this is from audit syllabus, I can't attempt question of tax, I can't attempt question of Companies Act. Can you do like that? If you're going to check stock, you're saying I can do audit procedure, but I don't know AS2 right now about inventory, so I can't verify inventory. Can you do like this? No. So this answer is that category that I told you. Directly Companies Act question. So if you remember Companies Act, you will remember this answer. If you have forgotten Companies Act, you can't write this answer. Okay. So application, okay. For special 5 purposes, okay, Gayatri has mentioned for buyback of unissued shares, for fully paid bonus shares, for write-off of preliminary expenses. Yes, similar points are given. Application of securities premium account, if you remember, you can write. Towards issue of unissued shares of company as fully paid bonus shares, for writing off preliminary expenses, for writing off the expenses of or commission paid or discount allowed on issue of shares or debentures, in providing for premium payable on redemption of any redeemable preference share or debentures, for purchase of its own shares or securities under 68. The auditor needs to verify whether the premium received on shares has been transferred to securities premium account and whether the application of the amount is only as per the purposes mentioned. Is that clear? This answer is clear, everyone? Let's move on to the next one. Let's move on to the next one. SRT Private Limited, based in Mumbai, is engaged in the export of brassware goods. Okay, export कर रहे हैं. The company has huge exports receivable as on 31st March 2024. It is also analyzed from export sales account of the company that large number of small shipments were almost dispatched daily during the month of March 2024. The auditor is ensuring that all goods dispatched prior to the year end have been invoiced. Which assertion is this being done? Quickly बताओ students. बहुत सारे keywords है जो मैंने आपको बताए थे. Many keywords are there which I told you about. Garv has given correct answer. Pooja has also given correct answer. Om का भी सही नहीं है answer. See, I'll show you here. Now see, बताओ. Which assertion I'm talking about? Which keyword has been used? Look at this and tell me. Look at this, Om. All goods dispatched and near year end. But primarily, अगर आप question में देखोगे, when you see the question, what is it saying? The auditor is ensuring that all goods dispatched have been invoiced, which means क्या verify कर रहा है वो? The auditor is ensuring that all goods dispatched prior to year end has been invoiced. Which assertion is he focusing on? Completeness. Very good. Half of the battle we have won if we identify the assertion. Now I have to just think about different ways. Be innovative, be creative. That different ways in which something like completeness can be verified. And let me tell you, many times completeness goes hand in hand with cutoff. Can anyone tell me why? Why completeness goes hand in hand with cutoff? Why completeness goes hand in hand with the cutoff? Because if your cutoff principle you have used wrongly, it can lead to overstated or understated. It means automatically completeness will be affected. Very good, Gayatri. Cutoff can change the overstated, understated, some vouchers extra put, some bills extra put or less put, and that automatically changes the game for completeness. So these two assertions go hand in hand at many places. So अगर आप इसका आंसर देखोगे तो you will see that cutoff के भी glimpses मिलेंगे. You will see the glimpses of cutoff also. Okay. So give me some points. We'll not see the answer. I will not show you the answer. Tell me What all will you see? See the question again. Engaged in export, company has huge export receivable as on 31st March. You are also analyzing sales account and seeing large number of small shipments were daily dispatched in the month of March. The auditor wants to ensure that all goods dispatched prior to year end have been invoiced. You want list out few audit procedures you can adopt to verify completeness. Mehak, valuation it will affect, but understatement means here I am talking about the voucher. So suppose there are 100 vouchers, Mehak, or 100 sales bill, but I have added only 99 sales bill. So that is also incompleteness, na? Actually, the all assertions are interconnected with each other. Yes or no? In reality, all assertions are interconnected. Clear, na, Mehak? Okay. So think about how you will think. Very good, Garv. Garv is writing, we will check sales register. We'll check invoices of the last few days. Yes. What else? All bills and everything. What else? See, shipping हो रहा है. Shipments are happening. Think. Shipments are happening. Receivable है. एक एक line देखते जाओ. Receivables. What can I check? What can I check? Receivable reports, okay, aging reports. Shipments are happening. Very good, Garv. Shipment, dispatch logs, shipment log, customs log. Very good, Garv. What else can I check? Outgoing, incoming, everything, all those logs will be checked. So here, the focus words. I'll tell you the focus word. Invoices, receivable register or report, then shipment dispatch log. Log you understand, right? Like a list. Okay. All this you can check. Any sales returns immediately after 31st March 2024. Any discounts or incentives. All these things can be checked. Overall, this can let you know that whether everything is properly shown and nothing is missing. So let's see the answer. In the given situation, the auditor is verifying the completeness assertion by ensuring that all goods dispatched prior to year end have been invoiced. Audit procedures to verify the completeness are as under. Check that in respect of invoices raised in last few days near the cut-off date, goods are actually dispatched and not lying in the company. You have not just made the bills and actually nothing is moving. So check this. This will tell you whether all sales are genuine. Test invoices listed in receivable report. Select few invoices from accounts receivable aging and compare them with supporting documentation to see if correct amounts were billed to correct customers on correct dates. So this is like sample checking. Which few bills you take, check whether they are correctly in the correct amount, correct customer, correct dates are shown in the books of accounts. Then match invoices to shipping log. What does it mean? Suppose the invoice is 1st February 2026, but shipping, or let's say 1st January, and shipping is happening on 5th March. Then you can ask, or suddenly it's happening on 31st March. So just match that whether the invoice raised and shipping are tallying with each other, or if the days are there, whether that's a normal amount of period. Okay. Very good. Yes, Garv. E-way bills can also be very important. That is why I told you the procedures can be many. I can actually write down a 30, 40 point list to just verify the completeness. Is that clear? So of course, many of the points you will not find in the book. That's completely okay. So when you're writing that we will verify bills in the invoices, so you're writing, I will check few invoices or I will check dispatch log. In that, as a sub point, you can mention the extra points you have. Okay. Match invoice dates to the shipment date for those items in shipping dispatch log to see if sales are being recorded in correct accounting period. This can include an examination of invoices issued subsequent to the period being audited to see if they should have been included in the period under audit. So ये पूरा cut off का point है. Assess, build and hold sales. If there is a situation where the customer is billing customer despite still retaining the goods, it's called as bill and hold. Examine support documentation to determine whether a sale has actually taken place or not. I think you have studied about this concept somewhere in foundation, that whether the rights and obligations have been transferred. So suppose I have made the bills. I have told that I have sold 200 brassware items to Garv, but Garv has paid also. But the items are still with me. I have not dispatched them yet. Then if the fire happens, whose obligation is it? Who loses the money? So you have to you have to make sure that whether the sale has actually happened or we have just raised a bill, put the buyer in the debtor account and just noted it as a sales, but there is no payment received from buyer, there is no movement of the goods. So that is the time when you might have to raise questions that whether the sales have actually happened or not. Okay. Review the receiving log to see if company has recorded any inordinately large amount of customer returns after the audit period. Do you remember subsequent events? कितनों को याद है subsequent events? Events occurring after the date of balance sheet. So sometimes to be a good auditor, if sales have happened after like in the last days of March, just see that whether immediately they have returned in, it has become a sales return in 10th April. What does it indicate? What does it indicate? I have recorded 1 crore sales in March, but outdoor dressing, very good curve. So as an auditor, am I allowed to see or ask questions for things that are happening after 31st March? Am I allowed to ask them to show me things? Yes. We are completely allowed to ask for anything that is happening in the company till the report is issued. We have studied essay number 560, right? And you have studied accounting standard also. Next. So this can suggest the company may have shipped more goods near the audit period than what customer has authorized to inflate the profits. Review the process of giving discount on incentives. Check whether the same is as per company's policy and general industry trends. All right, as I told you, it will take some practice. You need to go through the book properly and then practice it regularly. Every day you have to practice. Next. Question number 4. During the audit of HST Limited, CA Mukund, the auditor, observed a significant volume of unsold electronic parts as inventory that has remained stagnant for more than 2 years. He noted that the company was facing difficulty in selling these items due to changes in market. Additionally, some parts were damaged and others were discontinued models. CA Mukund also ensures that the inventory was accurately valued to ensure proper financial reporting. You are required to outline the detailed audit procedure that are generally undertaken when auditing such inventories, which at the time of observance of physical counting were noted as being damaged or obsolete. So a lot of things are happening. Is this related to one specific assertion? First tell me, is this related to one specific assertion? No. Lot of things are happening. It's primarily its valuation. Primarily its valuation. But what is it telling you? That you went for physical counting. You went to observe physical counting. कहाँ पे करते हैं हम observance of physical counting? 501 में, okay? You went. You have already done one procedure as per standards. You have gone and you have observed the physical counting. But you note that some things are damaged and obsolete. Now, what is the next step you will do after you have found such inventories? Now, imagine like a business person. Mehek, okay? You have gone and you're during physical counting, many, let's say, 2000 parts or 2000 goods were found damaged and obsolete. Will I immediately remove it or think that whether for some things can there be replacement or can there be some repair or what are the ways in which this can be determined? Sumedh is asking, ma'am, could you explain point number 3 and 4? So I'm in this flow. I'll explain after completing this question. Okay. You also have to remember your AS number 2, inventory valuation, right? So keeping all these things in mind, let's see the answer. Follow up for items that are obsolete, damaged, slow moving, and ascertain the possible realizable value of. So basically, our work is to see what will be the possible realizable value of such item. Carefully examine the valuation of obsolete and damaged inventory. For the purpose, request the client to provide inventory aging split and follow up for any inventories which at the time of observance were noted as damaged and obsolete. Okay. So what you have to do, inventory aging, why do you need? You want to know how many are more than 5 years old. So you just know that they are obsolete or they are damaged. But how many are more than 5 years? How many are 3 to 5 years? How many are 1 to 3 years? How many are less than 6 months to 1 year? And how many are less than 6 months? So you will need this aging report to be able to do any analysis. Okay. Then compare the recorded cost with replacement cost. Examine the vendor list to determine if recorded cost is less than. Do you know why you are doing all this? Why has this process started? What is the principle of AS2? Can anyone tell me what is the principle of AS2? Fair market value or cost. And if the goods have become obsolete and damaged, then do we talk about fair market value or net realizable value? When goods have become obsolete. So, ये लग तो रहा है audit का question. But what principles are you completely applying in this? Audit ke principle, according to audit principle, you can ask, okay, I have gone to the visit. There are many obsolete and damaged stock. Please give me a list of what all damaged stock is there. Give me their aging report. And now I need to start seeing whether the recording of this valuation is correct or not. So this you are actually doing process for AS2. Because what all do you want to know? As per AS2, you will want to know the replacement cost. If the recorded cost is less than current prices, calculate inventory turnover ratio. Obsolete items may be revealed if ratio is very, very low. In manufacturing, test overhead allocation rates and ensure that only direct labor, direct material and overhead has been included. This costing concept. Do you know this costing concept? Audit ke class mein sab discuss hoga. In audit class, everything will be there. Do you know what is overhead allocation? Yeah, very good. So if you are manufacturing 4 products, let's say I'm manufacturing ghee, biscuits, what else? Chips and chocolates. Okay. And for all this manufacturing, there is a common administrative staff. And this staff, we are paying 10 lakh. Okay. So there's a common administrative. So you have to decide now how to allocate this 10 lakh rupees to the cost of biscuit, chips, chocolate, and ghee. Now, do you remember allocation, overhead allocation? So it's saying that when you are seeing the book value, when you are seeing the valuation in the book, you have to see whether the valuation done, the method used during the valuation by the company and the overhead allocation that was done, do you accept it? Do you think that the overhead allocation done according to you is correct and reasonable? Verify the correct application of lower of cost or net realizable value principle. Now, have you studied this thing, these points anywhere in audit? ये अलग से स्पेशली कहीं पढ़ा है? मैंने आपको when I taught you SA 501 or SA 500, did we study all this? No. But where have you studied it? AS2. So where does this come? This category of question. AS knowledge. Is that clear? एकदम ऑडिटर की तरह दिमाग लगाना है. You have to be like an auditor, sharp, thinking and connecting all the different subjects. Next. Measures AR. It's clear हो गया सबको? Everyone is following me. Everyone is following me properly. Just take bar quickly. Give me assurance that, okay, we are in the direction. You are understanding me. You are with me. Okay. Yes, ma'am. Question number 5. Messrs. AR and Associates have been appointed as statutory auditors of Future Limited, a company engaged in the business of manufacturing of various hardware products. They are analyzing the monthly trends for expenses like rent, power, fuel, repairs, and also verifying various attributes of such expenses. List down the attributes for verifying such expenses. This is, yeah, Sumedh is asking question number 3 ka point 34. Is this the point you're asking? This one and this one? Can you please confirm, Sumedh? Yes or no? Yes, ma'am. Okay. What is it saying, Sumedh? See, I told you, match invoices to dispatch log. It means, suppose I have made an invoice that I have sold goods to Sumedh on, let's say, 15th March. But till 31st March, 15th April, no dispatch has happened. Okay? So that will become assess, bill and hold, which means company is billing the customer for sales, but there is no shipping happening. The goods are still with the company. So if this is happening, you have to be very careful. Sometimes the company use this techniques to do window dressing कि आपको बोलेंगे हाँ आपका बिल बना दिया था, अभी हम आपको 15 दिन में उसका बिल को रिवर्स कर देंगे, गलती से बिल बन गया आपका. So this assess, bill and hold means you have billed the customer, you are holding the inventory with you, and maybe it might happen that you might use it as sales return. Same way, what you have to do as an auditor, match invoice to shipping and log. So अगर invoices 100 हैं, let's say invoices 100 हैं, तो shipping भी 100 चीजों की होनी चाहिए कि नहीं सुमित? If invoices of 100 things have been made, then the shipping should also have been done for 100 things, yes or no? And that is why matching the invoices with shipping can confirm the completeness. Is that clear? Matching the shipping with invoices can confirm the completeness. Okay. Yeah. List down the attributes. Where were we here? That monthly trends are there in expenses like rent, fuel, repairs. List down the attributes for verifying such expenses. Common attributes. Please talk about common attributes, not rent agreement like this specifically. What did I tell you? Any attributes, anything will be related to these 6 points. Yes or no? पहले ये बताओ. Any expense, any asset, any liability verification will be with respect to these 6 points. Now think of those 6 points and think about the answer. Let's say I want to verify rent, power, fuel. I will first say that whether it is regarding current period, okay, then it should be correctly classified revenue or capital. So correct presentation and disclosure. Then it should have proper, I should be able to check their invoices. So they should have proper documentation. Do you remember? Did the expense actually happen? So there should be documentation. Then it should be under correct head. Correct head. Then is it properly authorized? Which means signature is there, seal is there, stamp is there, and it should be for entity's business. Whether it was done for entity's business, not personal. So for any common expenses, monthly expenses like rent, power, fuel, repairs, if you check these things, you can check anything. So let's see. An entity is, in addition to making purchases and incurring employee benefits, etc., etc. Well, the auditor may choose to analyze the monthly trends. An auditor generally prefers to vouch for other expenses to verify the following attributes: whether the expenditure is regarding current period, whether it is qualified as revenue and not capital, whether supporting documents are there like tickets, insurance policy, third party invoice, whether it is classified under correct head, whether it is properly authorized, and whether it is related to entity's business and not a personal expenditure. Okay? Very easy answer. We'll go to the next one. CA Karan wants to test completeness assertion relating to intangible assets in the financial statements of the Data Solution Private Limited. State audit procedures. Okay. Try to write anything that you want. Let me see what you can write. Completeness check करनी है. किसकी? Intangible assets की. Keep writing. Let me see what all you are writing. Completeness we need to check. Write anything that you can think of. I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay. I'm not going to read out right now. I'm just seeing your answers. Keep writing. Others also participate. Barna, Avijit, Dulaita Marie, Jash, Lalita. Everyone should participate. Few points have been written. Think about more points. What all can you do? You want to check the completeness. Others also please respond. मैं ही बोलती रहूंगी तो क्या ही रिवाइज होगा आपका. Okay. So Gayatri has written opening balance additions and deletions we have to check. All have been recorded in financial statement. Patent and trademark documents we have to check. Amortization is done properly. Gayatri is saying we have to follow AS 26. Okay. No omission. Okay. Anything held by third party that we need to check. Certificate of date of use. Okay. Anything else? Anything else you would like to add? All right. Let's see. The audit procedures to be performed by CA Current to test the completeness is regarding verify the movement in the intangible asset schedule compiled by management, that is opening balances plus additions minus deletions, closing balances. So the closing balances should tally with the books of accounts. Okay. What does it mean? Last year, the intangible assets were, let's say, of 1 crore. So how many has been added during the year minus how many have been deleted, and what is the closing balance? So your closing balance should match the books of accounts closing balance. Check the arithmetical accuracy of movement. So this both you can think about together. So you can even arithmetical accuracy means you can check like this also, that at the start of the year we had 10 patents. Now we have added 2, but 3 patents we have sold. So it should be 9. Or you can check like this: 1 crore value of patents we had, plus we have added 2 lakhs, 20 lakhs, and minus we have done 30 lakhs. So like that also you can do. So one in this movement can be the quantity of the intangible asset, and arithmetical accuracy can be regarding the value. Now, basically these two. Now you have to verify the additions. For additions during the period, obtain a list of all additions and undertake the following procedure. So you now need to check. So these two are the main points. चेक कंप्लीटनेस कैसे चेक होगी? कितना ऐड हुआ, कितना डिलीट हुआ. ओके. और ओपनिंग बैलेंस क्या था. Now मुझे I want to check the additions are there correctly or not. So I will see all material additions, whether expenditure has been done as per AS 26. Who all gave the AS 26 point? Pooja told AS 26. Om told AS 26. So perfect. You are in the right direction. You will never score a 0. I have always have this principle to say that in this chapter, it is very difficult to score 0. If you have an understanding of the subject, आपने तैयारी की है, if you have prepared, you will never score 0 in this chapter. You will always score some marks. पूरा आंसर wrong हो, इसके chances are almost 0 if you have prepared. So कुछ तो लिख कर आओगे ही if you have some understanding. Okay. Ensure that no intangible asset arising from research should be recognized. So research chal rahi hai. If the research is still going, Om has written this point, not to include research. So if the research is still going on, can you include that as an intangible asset? No. Expenditure on research can be recognized as an expense when it is incurred. Check the proper certificate to verify date of use. Who told date of use? Om. Om, did you tell on your own or do you remember from the book? Om told this point, certificate of date of use. पढ़ा हुआ याद है ओम को. So verify the date of use regarding date of commencement for all additions. कहाँ पढ़ा है आपने ये सब? Where have you? All in AS 26 and tax also. Yes. Verify whether additions have been properly approved and verify whether proper internal process and procedures were followed prior to finalizing the vendor for procuring item of intangible assets by testing those samples. Which means, did you follow the proper procedure before you purchased? Can I purchase someone else's patent? Garv, if you have created a patent for some product, can a company buy it from you? Can a company buy? Yes. So if company has done additions during the year due to buying, okay, if you have bought an intangible asset, so you have to check whether it was correctly purchased. Why is it necessary to check this in completeness? It's important because if this is false and this is wrong and this is unauthorized, then automatically it's a wrong addition. This should not be added in the intangible assets. Is that clear? So main point is first two. Check the movement, check how many additions and deletions have been done, and check the accuracy. Now to check additions, you can check it is as per AS 26. Research phase is not included. Research expense is only recognized as an expense. Date of use is properly seen. It is properly approved and it is properly procured. Is that clear to everyone? Yes, Garv, your point can be written, but right now we are verifying what? Which assertion we are verifying, Garv? And the point you said is with respect to which assertion? क्वेश्चन कौन से assertion का है और कौन सा पॉइंट आप लिख रहे हो, कौन से assertion का पॉइंट आप लिख रहे हो? फर्क है ना, आप वैल्यूएशन का पॉइंट बोल रहे हो. नेक्स्ट, in relation to deletions, additions खत्म हो गए. Okay, all additions. How to check deletion? What was the reason? Why was the deletion done? How was the disposal done? Obtain management approval and disposal note for any disposal. Verify the process followed, like sale of the asset, proper quotes were invited. Verify the management has accurately recorded the deletion, original cost, accumulated amortization, and the resultant gain or loss as per books of accounts. So deletion, when it happens, you have to see why did you delete it? How did you sell it? Uh, how was the value calculated of sale? Then whether it is in profit you sold or in loss you sold. Okay, so in this deletion, all this needs to be checked. Next. Next question. Kite Private Limited acquired an immovable property of substantial value during the financial year 23-24, which is recorded in the financial statements as an addition in schedule of PPE. The auditor also observed that this immovable property has been mortgaged to a bank for availing credit facilities. How should the auditor verify the rights and obligation assertion for this property to ensure that entity's legal ownership and identity and identify any charges against it? So what has happened? You have purchased a property. Okay. It has been added in PPE. You have given this immovable property to bank for mortgage. What to do? What all can we do? Think about the points I have told you. So if any PPE additions have been made, register of charge, very good. Register of charge will be there. Then register of charge, very good. What other point I told you? Some keywords tell me. Mortgage is there. Confirmation from bank, very good. Title deed. Original will not be there. That is why confirmation will be needed. Yes or no? Same points you have to use here. So easy. So if you have studied one or two answer, you will start realizing कि कैसे सबका pattern match हो सकता है. Yes or no? Ownership. Someone has asked, ma'am, can we write answers without mention? Of course you can write. You will not get full marks. Just breathe. If you have written the whole previous answer, but you have not mentioned AS6, you might miss on marks. You might not get like 5 out of 5. You might get 4 out of 5. Okay. So this answer is very easy. To verify right and obligation, the auditor must ensure valid legal ownership and identify any charges against it. So what are you going to see? While performing testing of additions, all PP purchase invoices are in the name of the entity. Everything should be in the name of the entity. Where have we studied this? Same thing we studied here. Do you remember? In the name of the entity. So अगर आपको एक बार समझ में आ गया है, if you have understood once that how to check right and obligations, then whatever topic they give, you can use that concept in the same way. So it's in the name of the entity. Then conveyance deed, sale deed needs to be checked. You should insist on verifying the title deeds. If such immovable property and original deeds are not available, then obtain a confirmation from the lenders. You should verify the register of charges. हो गया ना? आ सकते हैं इसमें. Do you think you can get 4 out of 4 marks? Do you think you can get full marks in this answer? Very easily. Same points as question number 1. Okay. We'll take a break now, students. We'll take a break now and we'll come. Ma'am, whether company pays municipal tax mortgage does mean you pay municipal tax, right? And it shows, yes, it's actually a very important proof. If you go to bank also for loans, many times they ask to show the latest electricity bill, latest municipal tax bill. That's an additional proof of ownership. So if you want to write, you can write this point. So when you're writing the all invoices and check whether legal valid owner or not, in this you can write the auditor can verify whether municipal tax or electricity bill are in the name of the owner, are in the name of the company. So this can be an additional point. Very good. Okay. Ashok ji, technical team, we'll take a 10 minutes break now. Anyone there from the technical team? Good. All right, we'll move on to the next question. So the next question says that as a statutory auditor of Guinea Limited, you need to verify if the company has valid legal ownership rights over the inventories recorded in the balance sheet as on 31st March. What audit procedure should you perform to verify the ownership? Let's think of a very, very generic point. एक बार forget framing a full sentence. Let's think in small, small points. Ownership verify करनी है. Okay. So I will check invoices. ठीक है? I will check invoices. I'll confirm it with the purchase register. I will check inventory register. All these points I can check. Then I can check if there is a consignment related. So consignment agreement I can go through. Then any kind of consignment goods invoices I can evaluate. Then I can check sales bills and purchase bills, right? Because both will be important. In that, we have to see name of the client. It should be there clearly. Okay, you want to see legal ownership. So it should be clearly there. Invoices should have the name of the client. Then if it is a third party location, like in consignment, you can also look for confirmation. Confirmation should be there. Okay. Here we are only focusing on the legal ownership. Then what if I have taken loan, students? I have taken cash credit loan in which the inventory has been given as a security. Is that possible? Hypothecation can be done of the inventory. जैसे कि a house can be given on mortgage, even inventory can be there. So you can check bank collateral agreements. Yes or no? Yes, floating charge, hypothecation, deed of hypothecation can be there. So you can just write the word collateral agreements, but it can be usually loan agreement, hypothecation agreement, but bank collateral agreements. So all this, if you verify, you will get a clarity of how much the company, there can be a lot of things that you can see in the warehouse and some goods that you can't see. So sometimes when you go to visit a godown, there can be so many things. Let's say these many inventories are showing, okay? Let's say total 50 things are showing. But in the books, 60 is there. It means there can be some goods that are at third party location. Is that possible? Yes. And sometimes it's 50, but it's showing 40. What does it mean? That some of these goods are already sold, but they're just showing in the godown. So you have to see that whatever is being shown in the books of accounts on the balance sheet and P&L, whether all the things that are being shown, do I own it? Does the client own it? So keeping this perspective, see the answer. The statutory auditor of Guinea Limited should perform the following audit procedures to verify if the company has valid legal ownership rights over the inventories recorded in balance sheet. So vouch all the recorded purchases like purchase requisition, order, receiving report, invoice, cancel check, payment file. Someone told me gate record. So this is called as receiving report. So gate record means usually whenever any inventory comes in or goes out, there is a movement record maintained in the godown. So even that can be one of the ways to corroborate the invoices, purchase invoices and sales invoices with the gate record. But instead of writing gate record, you can just write it as an additional thing. So here, please remember, sometimes students make this mistakes. Then when they're thinking about inventory, they only write sales. Sales can be of the finished goods, but inventory can also include raw material. So you have to write purchases also, sales also. Okay. So here they are saying that first we will check all the purchase invoices. Then evaluate consigned goods. Examine correspondence like sales receivable, purchase documents. Determine if there is any collateral agreements. Collateral agreements I explained to you. Consignment agreements. Material purchase commitment agreements. Do you know what is commitment agreements? Does anyone know? Let me see. What is a commitment agreement? What is a commitment agreement? If my books of accounts is showing 50, but out of this, 10 is already committed to someone every month. So with some supplier, some purchaser, we have an agreement that every month we have to supply 10 goods to them, 10 units to them. So does this 50 include that commitment purchases? So see if the company has a commitment agreement of purchase. Examine invoices for evidence of ownership, like invoices should be in the name of the client. Obtain confirmation for items of inventory. For instance, when the inventory is held by a third party, the auditor should insist on getting declaration from third party on the letterhead with proper authorization, confirmation. Declaration, you can write as confirmation. It's completely okay. The items of inventory belong to the entity and are held by third party on behalf of the benefit under audit. क्लियर है बच्चों? क्लियर है? Okay. Next question. CAJ is appointed as statutory auditor of Sigma and Beta Limited for 2023-24. During the audit, he observed trade receivables amounting to rupees 50 crores. Trade receivables, okay. Are reflected in financial statements of the company. He wants to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence that the trade receivables are valued appropriately. Suggest few procedures. Let's discuss. Bataiye. Datas are valued properly. Datas are valued properly. Valuation check करना है. बताओ क्या क्या points. Suppose Garv, you are going. Trade receivables 50 crores are showing. What is the first thing you'll ask? Very good. Gayatri has given the correct answer. Aging schedule. Also list. So list will be there along with aging schedule, that how many datas are there, how old are they, how much 6 months old, 5 years old, 2 years old, 1 years old. That aging schedule is very important. Then think very, very correctly. Valuation will be very deep analysis. Think like this. This is your balance sheet, okay? 2024, 50 crores. 50 crores status. क्या क्या करोगे? What all will you check to get satisfaction, sufficient evidence that this 50 crore is not showing a wrong amount? Very good, Garv. Very, very good. Provision calculation. Provision calculation के लिए what information do you need, Garv? Provision calculation के लिए what information do you need? Yeah, in that specifically, provision for bad and, do you remember the word? What is the full name? Provision for bad and doubtful. So you will need details about bad debtors, bad debts, doubtful debts. Will you need that data, Garv? Yes, we will need that data. So bad debts, doubtful debts we will need. Then valuation is 50 crore. Tell me what all you will need. Provisions is done. Movement of bad debts. Yes. So in this, we need to see movement, how much it is moving. Can anyone tell why we need to see movement? What does it mean by checking movement? Movement का मतलब क्या होता है? Yeah, data's velocity. Okay. It can also be used to see that you can also use it for comparison. Why comparison? Suppose previous year datas were 30 crores and today it has become 50 crores. Do you think this is an important information to check valuation? Do you think this analysis is important to do valuation verification? Last year 30 crores show हो रहा था. Immediately, did it change the way you think? Yes. Then what else can be there? If bad debt is there, there is also possibility that something can be write off also. Write off also. And tell me one thing. If the company has litigation going with debtor, if the company has litigation going on with some debtor and they are showing under trade receivable, not under provision, do you think the valuation is correct? If litigation is going with some debtor and it has not been taken in provision or it has not been shown as doubtful debt or bad debt, is that a correct thing? So do you think the valuation will be right? No. So to understand if the valuation is correct, do I need to ask them a list of all the legal cases going on which are by datas? Will I ask for that list? क्या मैं मांगूंगी प्लीज मुझे लिस्ट ऑफ लिटिगेशंस दीजिए जो डेटास के साथ चल रहे हैं? Yes. Why? Can it affect the valuation? Yes. So see the answer now. Few audit procedures to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence. Review the process followed by the company to derive an allowance of doubtful accounts. This will include the comparison with the method used last year. Obtain an aging report of the receivable. Obtain list of data under litigation and compare with previous year. Scrutinize the analysis, identify those data which appear doubtful. Discuss with management about reasons as to why these data are not included in provisions. You should check if provisions are made at appropriate rate. Do you think the provision made is correct? Check the movement of bad debts. Provision accounts, bad debts written off, compare with bad debts expense to sale of current year with last year. Check that the write-off of receivable balance have been authorized appropriately by the appropriate authority. Do you know why all these points are important? I'll tell you why. Suppose during COVID, my company was struggling. Okay. Suppose in 2021, I put fake bills of 1 crore and showed them as datas. And this inflated my sales. And this inflated my datas. But no one caught it. Now in 2026, I'm showing that these datas have become bad debts. These datas are not paying me money. They have vanished. They are not repaying me. So now you will write it off. इस समय फायदा हो गया कि सेल्स दिख गई तो लोन मिल गया. You got loan of high amount. And here you written off, you saved tax. So that is why when people do bad debt write-off, it needs to be verified thoroughly by an auditor because lot of window dressing, lot of frauds happen with respect to bad debts. Is that clear? That is why write-off is a very important point to be checked when you are checking anything related to datas. Pura point clear hai? Is it clear? Can I move on to the next question? Okay. Measures V and S. So what did we do? What all points did we do? I'll just quickly go through that. Review the process of how company chooses doubtful assets, get an aging report, obtain the list of report of data center litigation, compare with last year, see the data which appear to be doubtful and why they have not been written off, check whether the provision is made at the correct rate, check the movement of bad debts, and check the write-off of bad debts. Clear? Next. We'll do this question later. Come to this one first. Come to 11. Mr. Vayu is appointed as the auditor of Prism Limited for the year 2023-24. He wants to ensure that PPE has been valued appropriately and as per generally accepted accounting policies and practices, and also that Prism Limited has valid legal ownership over PPE claimed to be held by the company and recorded. Explain how the auditor will verify the same. पहले तो मुझे जल्दी जल्दी बता दो. PPE, how to check rights, legal ownerships? Quickly tell me. Any PPE, how to check valid legal ownership? Bills, name of entity, original title deed, then register of charges, if mortgaged, then confirmation from bank. Yes or no? So, for legal ownership, you know the points already. Learn ho gaya ab. So, what do we have to check? Another thing. Valuation. Legal ownership तो done हो गया, ठीक है? ये already we have studied 3 times. So valued correctly. Now tell me, how can it be valued? So if you're talking about PPE, the valuation points can be with respect to any additions and deletions, but mostly depreciation, except land. Depreciation. Then which method used? What rate used? What rate of depreciation has been used? Any impairment? Then follow AS 28. Otherwise, follow AS 10. Is that clear, everyone? So to check valuation is quite okay. Yes, Garg, that you are saying. Land can have the nature of obsolescence. It's more about that land becoming, bad in value, losing its value. That is why if it has become impaired, you have to use AS 28. So if you'll see the answer, PPE has been valued appropriately or as per requirement. It is a common understanding that the value of fixed assets or PPE depreciation due to efflux of time, use, and obsolescence. The diminution of the value represents an item of the cost to the entity for earning revenue during the given period. Unless this cost in the form of depreciation is charged to the accounts, the profit and loss will not be correctly ascertained and the value of PPE would be shown at higher amounts. That is why Mr. Vayu should verify that the entity has charged depreciation on all items unless there is an item like land. Assess that the depreciation method used is as per the pattern as per entity's future economic benefits as expected to be consumed, whether it is straight line method, diminishing value method, etc. The auditor should verify whether the management has done an impairment assessment to determine whether any PPE is become impaired and requirements of AS 28 will follow. Is this easy? See, it's such a long answer. To check the legal ownerships, right and obligation, which means all additions are properly tested. So invoices needs to be checked. Conveyance deed, original title deeds, everything should be in the name of the entity. If it's immovable property, then confirmation from bank, register of charges. See, पूरा का पूरा answer 2 minutes में खत्म. Can you see the effect of just doing 10 answers? 10 आंसर को डिस्कस करके अगर हमने किया, कैन यू सी हाउ इट इज इंप्रूविंग योर स्पीड? Yes, Garv, you can mention that point. Revaluation goes to revaluation reserves and historical cost method is followed. So you can mention AS, that AS10 is properly followed. Is that clear? Next. Question number 12. Z Limited is engaged in manufacturing and export of shoes. Okay, manufacturing and export. The statutory auditor of the company wants to reasonably ensure that only the inventories recorded in financial statement are exclusively owned by the company and do not include any inventories that belong to third parties, but include inventories owned by the company but lying with third party. Advise the audit procedures to be performed to achieve this assurance. So what are we trying to find here? We are trying to find that all the correct things, only the inventories recorded are owned by the company. So we are trying to verify all the rights and obligations and completeness together. Okay. So first we are seeing that all the inventory owns are shown and all the inventory that is shown is actually owned by the company. So rights and obligation also. So both things are becoming part of it. Okay. So imagine it like this. So this will not go straight forward like a normal verification when you are checking only completeness or when you are checking only rights and obligation. Here you have to check everything. So if there is inventory showing for 2024-25, the inventory is showing of 30 crores. You have to see that all of this being shown, it's fully recorded plus only owned by company. So when you are doing this, you have to remember that you have to use all audit procedures. Can anyone tell me all audit procedures to verify something? ये मैं एक थोड़ा second layer आपका explore कर रही हूँ. अभी तक you have finished some common questions. Now I want to explore a second layer with you. Can anyone tell me what are the audit procedures to verify anything? किसी भी चीज को verify करने के लिए audit procedures कौन से होते हैं? What are the audit procedures to verify anything? Let's see if you can give the answer. Yes. Correct direction, Om and Garv. Yes, Om and Garv have found and told the answer correctly. Audit procedures are inquiry, inspection, then observation, confirmation, then external confirmation, recalculation, then re-performance, and analytical procedure. Yes or no? What does this mean? It means that if I want to check an item, like here I want to check an inventory, and in that I want to check multiple things. I want to check the existence, I want to check the valuation, I want to check the completeness. Everything I want to check rights and obligations. So if I have to check everything, what is the mix of procedures I will use? To check anything, to audit anything, these are the 7 audit procedures. So when we are approaching questions, we should remember that anything I do, if I ask them to give me an aging list, I am again doing an inquiry and inspection. If I am calculating provisions again, provision for bad and doubtful debt, which procedure I am doing? I am doing recalculation. If I'm comparing the current year with previous year, what am I doing? I'm doing analytical procedure. So anything that you do in this chapter is you apply audit procedures on assertions, which means there's an item of financial statement. First, I have to identify which assertion, and then I have to see what procedures to perform. Now, do you understand this, students? कोई भी item, which assertion I have to check, and what procedures I have to perform. Okay. So if you'll see this, audit procedures to be followed by the Z audit, statutory auditor of Z Limited, to ensure that only inventories held by entities have been recorded and do not include any inventories belonging to third parties, does not include but includes inventory owned. Perform analytical procedure, comparison test with industry average, budget, prior period, trend analysis, which means calculate the inventory turnover ratio, cost of goods sold with inventory. Perform vertical analysis means inventory with respect to total assets. Compare budgetary expectation vis-a-vis actuals. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? और ये हमने why this point? It means imagine yourself practically. Suppose inventory is showing at 3,000 crores. Do you think you can immediately check each and everything to know the completeness? Jaldi batao. Suppose the inventory is showing at 3,000 crores. Do you think it's possible you will start checking each and every voucher first? Do you think that will be your first step? What you will do? 2023-24 was 2,800 crores. Now does it appear to be normal? Now does it give you okay? इतना ही रहता है इनका inventory, तो nothing abnormal. Yes or no? But what if I told you last year it was 1,500 and suddenly it has become 3,000 crores? Now tell me, will you doubt completeness? Will you doubt the valuation? Will you doubt that maybe something extra has been added in inventory or some wrong valuation has been done? Or maybe something has been added in inventory which is not part of uh, the company, which is not owned by the entity. So risk is high, which means my procedure will be more in depth. So do we start by getting invoices from the company or do we start by doing analysis? Quickly tell me. हम invoices check करके काम शुरू करते हैं या पहले ये check करते हैं कि कितना check करना है? So the first step is analysis. Perform analytical procedures. See inventory turnover ratio. Vertical analysis, which means with respect to total assets. So suppose total assets is 1,000 crores and inventory is 200 crores. So it is 20%. So is this 20% pattern is there in the past years? Is 20% normal as per industry? Examine non-financial information like weight and other measurements. So don't just see 3,000 crores. Suppose it is gold inventory. You can also check whether it is 5,000 kg or 500 kg like that. Perform purchase and sale verification. Shipping documents you can check, bill of lading, receiving report, warehouse records, inventory records, of accounting records immediately before and after the year end. With respect to tagged inventory, verify test for omitted transaction, test for invalid transaction, arithmetical accuracy of inventory listing, reconcile physical inventory amount with perpetual records, physical counting with ledger control, reconcile inventory which belong to inventory but are held with third parties like transporter, warehouse, port authority. Goods received on consignment basis have been properly segregated from other items. So all these points, so this answer is a little something that you need to read again and again so that you can write it accurately. Is that clear? So here, perform analysis. Okay. Here you're doing inspection. Okay. You're doing inspection. And here the whole part is actually inspection and recalculation only. Done? Okay. Question number 13. while verifying cash and cash equivalents of a company, CAD engagement partner is very particular that bank reconciliation statement prepared by management in respect of BRS. Prepared by management in respect of bank account maintained by company is proper to rule out misstatements in cash and cash equivalents. The company does not use net banking and prefers to issue checks to its creditors and receive substantial payments locally through account pay checks. Which aspects needs to be taken care of and verified by CAD in respect of BRS? So here what we are doing like a reperformance. What is happening that the cash and cash equivalent is there and BRS is properly prepared by the management. Now this BRS includes mostly check payments. Mostly check payments. So if you are checking BRS on your own, how will you check? CAD should ensure that BRS is properly signed by the correct person. So they are saying we are preparing BRS. But who is preparing? Who is approving? So tell me, are we here checking any particular assertion? No, we are checking the whole of BRS, whether this BRS is reliable or not. So who is preparing? So ensure it is signed by authorized personnel so that he's able to assign any accountability or responsibility. Verification of BRS. First, most basic thing, balance should tally as per bank book and bank confirmation. So if in books of accounts, bank balance is showing 20 lakhs, then in bank statement also it should show 20 lakhs. First basic reconciliation. Then whether all material reconciling items, including checks issued but presented for payment, underlying forming parts of the books of accounts. Firstly, tell me, do you remember BRS? आपको BRS बनाना याद है? अब तो खत्म हो गया है. But do you remember in your 11th, 12th foundation, checks presented for payment but not clear, checks presented but still pending to be cleared? Do you think इसके वजह से there can be difference? आपकी book में it is showing check has been given, but the other party has not presented it yet for 2 months, 3 months. So in bank and your balance, there will be a difference. So you just have to see that how many checks have been issued but not presented and presented for payment. For all cases where checks have become stale, like 3 months or more have lapsed, the same should not appear in the BRS and should instead be taken back to liabilities. Checking of all material reconciling items included under checks deposited but not credited by bank, requesting for banks deposit slips, acknowledgement by bank, verifying if balances were credited by bank subsequently by tallying the bank statement of subsequent period. For any instances related to checks not cleared beyond reasonable time, the auditor should seek brief descriptions from management and explanations to be found unsatisfactory. Revenue recognition should be properly followed. So आपने अगर deposit कर दिया है, किसी ने deposit, someone has deposited the cash check, but it is still not credited by the bank, then ask for deposit slip as a proof that, okay, I have deposited the check, but I don't know why bank has not cleared it. Acknowledge from the bank, yes, we received the check, but it is not cleared from the clearing house. Then check if it is cleared after 10 days, 20 days, it was stuck in some technical problem. So when ensure that there can be, see, BRS mein, there are 2-3 things only that causes problem. Checks given but not presented. Checks given, presented but not credited. So remember, imagine your BRS. Imagine your BRS. What should be there? Book balance and bank statement. This should tally. What are the main problems in BRS? Imagine the main problems. Audit bhul jao. What is the main points you used to see in your BRS in your 11th, 12th? That check given but not presented. Check deposited but not credited. These used to be main problems. Yes or no? इतना तो याद है सबको. वो याद है तो ये points लिख लोगे. Checking of all material reconciling items, including under amounts of charges or charges debited, credited by bank, but not accounted. Very good, Garv. Recurring bank charges not recorded in books, automated transactions not recorded. So if some charges have been debited by the bank, but you have not recorded them, that can cause a difference between your book balance and the bank statement. If amounts are found to be material, auditor to ensure that management records the adjustment for the same in the books of accounts. Finished. So BRS को इतने से में याद कर लो. Just this much you remember. Book balance, bank balance. This BRS should be properly signed and approved. Okay, signed and approved. Book balance should tally bank balance. Check given but not presented. Check deposited but not credited. And charges not recognized. So charges have been taken by bank, but we didn't even know. So suppose there is one bank which takes something called as ledger folio charges. It's not taken by all of the banks. So sometimes you will not even realize that some ledger folio charges has been taken. Okay. That's it. This is verification of BRS. Next. Yes, check issued but not presented I have given. Check given but not presented. Okay. Mehak, that point I have mentioned. BOTS is a manufacturing entity having material PPE. The auditor of the entity wants to verify that PPE has been valued appropriately as per GAAP. Okay. So just a few audit procedures. We have already done this. Can someone tell me quickly how to check valuation of PPE? Depreciation on all items except land. Then method of depreciation. Then any impairment. So AS28, do you remember? Only valuation you have to check. So this I already covered. Do you remember? Here itself we covered. Yeah, here I covered. Question number 11, I covered this. Same thing asked in a different way through different entity. Same points will come. Represents an item of cost for earning revenue during time. Depreciation is charged to the accounts. Verify charge depreciation on all items except on non-depreciable assets like land. Assess that the depreciation method used correctly shows the future economic benefits, straight line diminishing value. The auditor should verify whether management has done an impairment assessment as per AS28. Finished. Next. Next question, everyone. Identify and explain the assertions that the auditor will check. ये बहुत objective question है. Quickly बताइए. Employee benefit expenses recognized during the period relates to current accounting period only. कौन सा assertion relates to current accounting period only? Which assertion? Garv has given the answer. Mehak has also given correct answer. Gayatri has also given correct answer. Pooja has given correct answer. Om has given correct answer. Correct. Cut off. Next. Employee benefit expenses in respect of all personnel has been fully accounted for. Which one is this? Garv has given answer. Others. Gayatri has given answer. Pooja has given answer. Om has given answer. Yes, all of you are right. This is completeness. Any inventory held by the entity on behalf of other entity has not been recognized as part of the inventory. Which one is this? It has not been recognized that entity has rights on it. Rights and obligations. Very good. Recorded sales represent goods which were ordered by valid customers and were dispatched and invoiced in the correct period. Sales represent goods which were ordered by valid customers. बताओ कौन सा है ये? इसका एक भी क्वेश्चन नहीं किया है अभी तक. वेरी गुड गर्व. Existence occurrence. Only Garv gave the correct answer. Recorded sales represents goods which were ordered by valid customers. So sales की बात हो रही है. So here it is talking about existence, that the customer actually exists. Valid customers. So existence, okay? So this point is covered. Next, question number 16. CA Tripti is in the midst of conducting audit of a company engaged in manufacturing of range of bicycles in an industrial township located in North Indian state. As part of its activities, the companies procure bicycle components from various small and medium-sized enterprises. Okay. Besides, company imports few bicycle components from China on credit terms. All right. The auditor notices that companies has huge trade payables creditors reflected in books financial statements. He wants to be sure that all the trade payables reflected in the financial statement have been valued appropriately. Suggest few audit procedures to be performed. So which specific assertion they want us to focus on? Firstly, it's a question on creditors. They want us to focus on valuation. Okay. So how do you check? So this is the first time we are doing trade payables. So let's just see. The audit procedures to be performed to verify all trade payables have been valued. So firstly, review the process followed by the company to identify if any old creditor balance need to be written. So do you remember when I did data's question? Do you remember the data's question valuation? Data's question valuation. What did we focus on? Provision for bad and doubtful debt. Do you remember? Bad and doubtful debt. Any litigation. Then any written off. Then aging schedule. Do you remember? Similar concepts and similar principles will be applicable here. See this. What are the process? See if any old creditor balance is there which can be written off. See the comparison with previous year. Compare the aging of payables and list of vendors with which companies has disputes and any claims from customers under litigation compared with previous year. Any write-backs of balances that are no longer payable is properly approved and authorized. Explain any restatement of foreign currency trade payables have been done as per AS 11. Only this is the new point. Understand management's process to identify principal amount and interest due unpaid to any MSME enterprises at the end of the accounting year. Test check the management process if auditor could rely on the management process. So this point, this point, this point, everything we had done already in datas. Why this point came? Because it was written that we are importing some things from China on credit terms. Now, if you are checking valuation, what can be problem if we import? Of course, foreign currency. So that is why as per AS 11 is being followed or not. And lastly, understand management's process to identify the interest amount, which means suppose I have to pay 2 crores. Then how much is principal? How much is interest? Suppose interest is at 9%. So how much is the principal component? How much is interest component? And whether accounting policy is correct. Is that clear? So this is how you check the valuation. Next. So if you remember data, you can use the same principles to write down for the creditors. Next. During the audit of Rapid Industries Private Limited, CA Akshat notices that inventories of raw material and consumables and work in progress amounting to rupees 2.5 crore and 0.5 crore appear in the financial statement of the company as on March 31st. He wants to verify the above mentioned inventories have been valued properly and as per GAAP. So how should he proceed? What all we do? So they want to divide into inventories that are raw material and consumables and work in progress. So both of them will have different procedure. So if I want to check valuation of raw materials and if I want to check WIP. So ascertain what elements of cost are included, carriage inward, non-refundable duties. So what are we checking here? Valued. So we are checking valuation of inventory. What elements of cost are included? Carriage inward, non-refundable duties. If standard costs are used, what are the basic standards? How do you compare with actual cost? What are the variances? Check cost prices used. This is fully an AS2 plus costing answer. Follow-up valuation of all damaged and obsolete inventories noted during the physical counting. Work in progress. Ascertain how the various stages of production and value additions are measured. In case estimates are made, understand the basis for such estimates. Ascertain elements of costs that are included. See, this will remain the same. Costs that are included. In WIP, this is the most tricky part. Whether 20% WIP, 40% WIP, 60% WIP, 80% WIP. How are you calculating that how much inventory is completed? So how do you are measuring? Because if it's 20%, the valuation will be different. If it's 40% WIP, the valuation will be different. Ensure that material costs exclude any abnormal wastage factors. So please see this answer. It's quite an important answer. Okay. Now, one second. I want to do some very particular questions with you. Yeah. Come to this question now. Pay attention, everyone. Pay attention. As an auditor of Star Limited, a company covered under Section 135. One second. Yeah. What matters should auditor verify to ensure proper disclosure regarding CSR activities is made in additional information to notes to accounts? Mention any 4 such factors. So this is a direct question. In your book, at the end, if you'll see, there are questions regarding CSR, cryptocurrency, ratios. Those you need to properly do like you do any other chapter questions. You have to go through it properly. And of course, if you know your company's act, you'll be able to do this properly. So any 4 matters that should be disclosed about CSR. So someone has written any unspent CSR amount, whether it has been transferred to CSR reserved, total amount spent, very good. So this is a very straightforward. So see, this section is given directly. You don't have to memorize here. So under section 135, additional information should be there. Amount required to be spent, amount actually spent, shortfall at the end of year, total of previous year shortfalls, reason for shortfall, what kind of CSR activities you have done, any related party transaction, which means you have done contribution to your own trust. So if there is a company called as TCS, okay, Tata Consultancy Services, and they have made CSR fund donation to Tata Trust only, that needs to be given. Then whether provision is made with respect to liability incurred by entering into a contractual agreement, the movements in the provision during the year to be shown separately. So if you remember any four, you can write the answer. So what all we need to know: amount required to be spent, amount actually spent, how much we didn't spend, how much is the total previous year shortfall, reason for the shortfall, nature of CSR activities, related party transactions, all this you can mention. So I wanted to do this question specially with you so that you remember how to approach these things, okay? Then I want to do this question with you. Yeah, come to this question. Schedule 3 of the Companies Act prescribes disclosure of certain ratios as per additional regulatory information. What did I tell you? There are 3 to 4 questions in your book that are very specific that you have to learn. Mention any 3 ratios that should be disclosed along with the rules relating to disclosure. Give me any 3 ratios. Garv has given. Gayatri has given 1. I don't understand the other 2 you have written. Om has given 1. There is no such, okay, yeah, ROI. Okay, correct. Not rate of interest. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Barna, you write down 3 ratios. Lalita, Avijit, Pooja. Okay. All right. So see this disclosures, current ratio, debt equity. एकदम आपके 11th 12th के basic ratios. Current ratio, debt equity ratio, debt service coverage ratio, DSCR. Okay. Return on equity, ROE. Inventory turnover. See turnover के 4 हो गए. यहीं पे सिर्फ turnover, if you remember, sales turnover, sorry, inventory turnover, debtor turnover, creditor turnover, net capital turnover. Then net profit ratio, return on capital employed, return on investments. Okay. What are the rules? Please remember this. This is very, very important. The company shall explain the items included in the numerator and the denominator for computing. So you have to mention what all you have included in the numerator and denominator. An explanation shall be given for any change in the ratio for by more than 25% as compared to preceding year. So if any ratio has changed for more than 25%, you have to give an explanation why it has changed for so much amount. Okay. Let's go to the next question. JB Limited has invested huge sums of money on establishment of new PPE during the year under audit. They have incurred an amount of rupees 5,70,000 on dismantling of an old plant, which has become completely obsolete, so that a new plant can be set up at the existing location. The auditor is in the process of verifying the cost incurred towards addition to the property. What should be the accounting treatment of the amount spent on dismantling of old plant? What elements of plant should be considered? This is fully, ma'am, if in question it tells only 3, should we write only 3 or should we write whole? If the question is saying you can write, you have to write only 3, you can write 3. If you write more, that's not a problem. But if you write 3, they are asked 3, then that's completely okay. Your marks will not be deducted because they asked 3 and you wrote 5 or 6 because it's in the list only. That's completely okay. Okay. So yeah, this is a AS question. This is not a audit question. This is like an AS question hiding inside audit. What does it say? New PPE has been purchased. To dismantle old plant, 5,70,000 was spent. And on the same location, new plant was set up. You are checking cost incurred towards. So this dismantling expense of 5,70,000, how would you treat it? Would you directly put it in P&L? Or do you think it will be part of the capitalization of the new plant cost? Tell me. New plant costs. Such questions are a favorite for ICAI and advanced accounting. Okay. Very good. So both Mehak and Garv are absolutely correct. In given situation, JB Limited has invested huge amount in new PP and got 5,70,000 to dismantle. An item of PP that qualifies for recognition as an asset should be measured at its cost. The cost of dismantling, removing the item, restoring is called as decommissioning and will be part of the cost of the new PPE. Very good. What was the second question? What elements of cost can be considered for valuing a property? Purchase price, including import duty, non-refundable taxes, then any cost for put to use. Do you remember put to use? So any cost regarding bringing the asset to the location and condition necessary for operation, all that is included. The initial estimate of the cost of dismantling, removing and restoring, known as decommissioning, restoration or liabilities, that also becomes a part of the cost. ये पढ़ा हुआ है ना पूरा accounts में. You have studied all this in accounts. That same points you have to remember and write in audit. Okay. So I am done from my side today. Please let me know if you have any further doubt. Did you understand? Was this revision helpful to you? Did you understand? Did you get some clarity on how you need to approach this chapter? एक दो बार अच्छे से please go through and then just start solving. Okay? Don't be scared of this chapter. It's a very important chapter. If you know even basics, you can always write some answer in exam. You will never have to leave the question. Keep your AS and law also strong. Okay. If you have any doubt, I'll wait for 1 or 2 minutes. Otherwise, we can end the class. Any doubts, anyone? So I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. All the best for your exams. Write well, do well. I hope all of you become chartered accountants. I wish you all the very best. I'm sure you will do well and enjoy the rest of your LVRCs. Be diligent. Don't take this carelessly. Do it properly. Enjoy it and do it. Burden समझ के नहीं करना है. Enjoy the subject. The subject will also reward you. If you will think of subject like a burden, the subject will also treat you the same way. So it will treat you the same way you treat it. So treat it nicely. It will treat you nicely. Okay. All right. Technical team, I think we can end the lecture now. Hello. Hanji, over ji. Thank you. Thank you. Good night, everyone.